What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, back again with another tier list video, and we're going to be looking at the ships. Now, since the last time I made this video, a lot of ships have received buffs via the modifications and level 12 additions into the game, as well as the fact that we have the new movie ships as well. So I felt like this was a really good opportunity to bring this to you guys and kind of discuss how good or bad some ships are. Shout out to Solaris, who's one of the community members. He manages the database for compiling a lot of this information for us here. So we're going to get started because this might actually take a while to get through. The Dinghy ship. The Dinghy ship actually got a really nice upgrade. I mean, obviously at base level, it's really, really bad. But at level 12, boost the chance of landing type slots, recovery boost to the captain, 1.65 attack, 1.5 HP. It makes it easier to land perfects, but the big thing is the additional -2 cooldown. The Dinghy at level 12, and I am, going to be ranking these ships with their max potential in mind. The Dinghy is one of the best ships in the game, which is crazy to say, but it literally is. A rainbow ship, great attack boost, great health boost, cooldown, like there's just everything that you could possibly want. It is a fantastic ship in the game. The Mary, I know exactly what it does. The modifications getting bind and despair removal, again, one of the best ships in the game. I think it is better than the Dinghy because it has the utility, and I think generically speaking, utility focused effects are going to be more valuable than cooldown in more cases. Cooldown doesn't really help you click content, depending on the team, of course. But I think having the utility focused effects is a little bit more valuable than just having cooldown. Of course, endgame players want to have the cooldown so they can clear content faster. But I think that generally speaking, the Mary is probably a better ship overall. The Navy ship is next. So this is a shooter and a fighter ship. 500 base attack, 1.75 HP, and then fighter and shooter get 1.5 attack. Boost chances of matching slots, -1 paralysis. I mean, it's a solid ship, but it's only for shooters and fighters. So I think I'm going to put it in B tier, but it's not actually that awful. A lot of HP to play around with as well. Baratie, this is a very fascinating ship. This one recently got an addition. So the captain gets 10,000 bonus health, 1.5 attack to all characters, boost chances of landing a recovery slot. Recovery similar are matching, boost attack by 1.2 if you have recovery or similar, and then you can hit recovery and similar when you tap perfect. -1 cooldown is added, and also tandem slots are changed into similar. Very unique effect here. So it's 1.5, is it? Yeah, it was 1.5 attack and a 1.2 bonus if you have recovery or similar. So 1.5, 1.2, it's a 1.8 attack ship. The fact that it does change tandem slots means that you can't abuse super tandem, but the fact that it does alter these tandem slots into similar, which are basically rainbow slots that can't be changed by the enemy, this is actually a really unique ship, and I think it's like an A tier level ship because it still gives an attack boost at least, and it has really interesting mechanics that like no other effect in the game can do what this ship does, which I think is just a really unique thing. The Coffin Boat, the mono slasher ship, just attack HP, recovery boost to the captain, -1 cooldown, bind removal. The fact that it's mono slasher, I want to put it in like C tier. Like, it's not awful, but come on, man, like there's so many other better ships, and they didn't really give it enough. It should have had more effects, honestly. It's pretty bad. Miss Love Duck, which is the Alvida ship, is a striker focused ship. 1.5 attack, more matching slots, damage reduction, striker attack boost, striker HP boost, striker cooldown. Very mono striker focused, but I'd say it's similar to the Mihawk ship. It's worse than the Mihawk ship in a way because Mihawk has some piece of utility with the bind removal. This doesn't have anything like that, so it's still okay. The Flying Going Merry, I actually didn't realize this one got a buff. -1 cooldown, 5,000 HP here, 1.7 attack, 1.2 recovery, and then 2 despair removals. This ship's actually not that bad. This ship is actually pretty good. I would say it's up there. Probably, I mean, you could make an argument that it's probably at the top of A tier. Like, it's actually really good, but I mean, who's going to be, going out of their way to max the Flying Going Merry? I don't think too many people would do that, but -2 despair, yeah, that could come into play, honestly. It's pretty good. Moby Dick, this is one of the ships that I have personally upgraded. So this one, same as before, you start at half HP, but you get a big health boost, big attack boost, and if you're even low at HP, you get a further attack boost, -1 cooldown, damage reduction. Like, this ship is actually just okay. I would say it's probably the top of B tier. You could make an argument for it being the top of the bottom of A tier probably, but I think it's a pretty solid ship. So we've got the big top. This one, I actually don't remember if this one got an upgrade. So unfortunately, the next set of ships really haven't received an upgrade yet, but they could be getting them in the future. But most of these are just pretty bad. They're just really low level stuff. I mean, the Aokiji bike is probably the best of these. The Bezan black is okay, probably around here. These ships though, when they do get upgrades, specifically like the Ace ship and the bike ship, I think these can actually get bumped up quite a fair bit depending on the buffs that they give them. But unfortunately, these ones do not have buffs currently as of this video. Moving on though, we've got the 1000 Sunny next, and the 1000 Sunny is actually pretty solid. This is a ship that many have actually decided to upgrade. Rainbow attack and health boost, easier perfects, but has a special 9-turn cooldown, which is very, very acceptable. 2.25 attack boost, 100k fixed damage to all enemies, but then the ship modifications of removing bind and attack down. This is one of the best ships in the game. I would say it's up there with the Mary. These two ships are incredible. If you're not too sure which ones to upgrade, these are probably the two best ones to do. They're just generically good abilities to have. Dreadnaught Sabre is a surprising one. If I had the, the actual resources to do it, I would be upgrading this ship because it's just nice to have. The health boost is cool. Driven powerhouse attack boost. It is a low attack boost, but the big thing is that it does the end of turn damage. 20,000 fixed damage at the end of the turn. It's not fixed damage, but it's 20,000 damage at the end of the turn. But then also an added effect. If you inflict the enemy with some type of poison, you get a further attack boost, which is kind of whatever. But then also you get a base attack boost to Driven Powerhouse, a paralysis removal. Like, this ship is just solid. I'd say it's probably the top of B tier. Because sometimes you don't really want to bring a dedicated support or a dedicated special that allows you to get around resilience in some fashion. Just chucking a ship on your crew and enabling that to do it for you is just really nice to have, honestly. Kuja Pirates. Kuja Pirates did receive an upgrade. So this boosts Shooter and Free Spirit now. 1.75 attack, 1.4 health. Make it easy lane perfects with a special that heals and then heals at the end of the turn. And also gives -1 cooldown to Free Spirit Shooter and decreasing chain reduction by 2 turns. This is one of the most useless ship abilities you could possibly get. Decrease chain multiply growth rate by 2, like, come on. They could have added so many other abilities here. This is such a redundant modification effect. Pretty disappointed about that. So I guess really it's just attack HP, a healing effect, a -1 cooldown. Like, it's pretty bad, honestly. It's as sad as it is to say. It's probably top of C tier, honestly, but it's not that great. Ark Maxim though, the NL ship, quick and size ship this time. 1.75 attack, 1.4 health, 4,000 healing at the end of the turn with a special that does damage to all enemies and removes 1 turn of damage threshold and gives the enemies paralysis for 1 turn. Also gives -1 cooldown and -1 paralysis to the crew. This is a good ship. I would say it is probably, I would put it at the top of A, at least for now. This is a really solid ship. The Red Force, I know this was a bit of a disappointment when it came out. Cerebral Shooter ship. Lots of ships adding Shooter now. 1.75 attack, health boost, more matching slots, but then easier perfects and 1 turn attack down. They could have done so much more with this effect, but it's so mediocre. I would say it's probably around here-ish. Like, it's better than the Kuja ship, but it's not by a whole lot, I'll say that. We've got the Jinbei ship, the Sun Pirates. Fighter attack and HP boost. Further attack and HP boost if the first class on a character is Fighter. Very interesting. -1 cooldown, and then easier perfects. It's just HP and attack. That's basically all it is. So that's pretty disappointing. Again, it's probably around here. Maybe a little bit better than Alvida's ship, but it's just HP and attack, unfortunately. Doflamingo ship, which was one of the first ships to get mods. So this one is just focusing on driven. Really good attack boost though. Good health boost. Easier perfects with a special that gives you a chain boost, but if you already have one, you get a buff to the chain boost instead. So that's cool. And then the other effect is the -1 cooldown at the start of the quest, and then boost the chain multiplier of your ship by +1.2, of the ship's special by +1.2. So it becomes a 1.2 bonus instead of a 1.0. So to be honest, I think this is not a great buff for the Dofi ship. Again, if you're running mono driven, like, yeah, it's probably okay. But again, it's just raw damage. It doesn't really provide much utility to the crew, which is kind of disappointing. The Rocketman, which is focusing on powerhouse this time, good attack boost. It cuts the crew's HP by 30%, so you get less overall HP, but it gives you really good healing at the end of the turn, up to additional 2500. But then a special that can do damage to a single target and give you a 2x color affinity boost. But then you can also buff color affinity if you already have it, whilst also providing -1 cooldown and a paralysis reduction. So this is a good ship for powerhouse. I'd say it's probably in the B tier, probably better than the Moby Dick overall. Probably better than the Dreadnaught Sabre, but I love the Dreadnaught Sabre. I'm a little bit biased towards it, so I'd probably put it at just below that, but still pretty good. The Garp Ship, did this one get a buff? No, it did not. So Garp Ship is probably around like this tier here with the Bezan Black. We've got the Trafalgar Law Ship, which I don't think has received a buff yet either. This one is actually not terrible though, like relatively similar to some of the other ships. Like it's got a healing mechanic and it's actually not awful. The Coated Sunny is still somewhat useful. Having a special that can provide a damage reduction effect is sometimes just all you need, to be honest. So I do actually want to put it in a reasonably decent tier. Probably around here. The Cannonball Ship, this one hasn't received a buff yet. It is only for shooters, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It just gives minus cooldown and that's it. So this ship with a buff for shooters would be very fascinating because they could maybe potentially make it the best speed farming ship in the game. Like maybe it's like a -4 cooldown or something ridiculous like that would be so cool. The Barter Ship, I don't think this one has received a buff yet either. This is another striker focused ship and it's really not that good. So I'd probably put it around here, really at the bottom level. It's just kind of whatever. If you're running a striker team, yes, you can use it, but no one really uses it. We've got the Thriller Bark Ship. This one did receive a buff, as we can see here. This one is focusing on Dex and Int, so it does boost chance of matching slot, 1.5 attack, and a little bit of a health boost, and then boost their attack by a further 1.15 if they are Driven or Powerhouse. So if you run Dex Int plus Driven Powerhouse, you actually get a pretty nice boost. They also give -1 cooldown to Dex Int and extend the duration of slot effects. This is a very unique ability because this is somewhat of a way to circumvent enemy intimidation. So if an enemy has an intimidate on like slot effect boost where they reduce the duration of the buff, you could potentially counter it with this ship. So because of that uniqueness, I want to bump it up a little bit more than I normally would. So I think I'm going to leave it at the top of C tier for now, but I don't see it being used all that much personally. So the next one here is this one. This is the ship from Skypiea. It's terrible. It's really bad. This was the first EXP boosting ship in the game. It does have a defense down special on the ship, which I think is actually kind of cool. So I kind of want to put it at the top of at this CT here, but it's not that good. The Marshal D Teach pirate ship. This is an interesting one here. So level 12. Really good health boost, -1 cooldown. If you have fighter / a striker shooter, you get a 1.75 attack boost, and if you have driven or powerhouse characters on the crew, you boost the crew's attack by 1.1. So that's kind of cool because you can get just lots of attack, cooldown and HP, a further cooldown, and then bind reduction. And it's pretty cool. There is a bit of a restriction on the ship, but it's a very powerful ship if you can abuse it in the right way. So I do think it's actually quite up there. It does have a piece of utility as well. Strong damage, rainbow ship, lots of cooldown. Like, yeah, it is only mainly focused on, just damage increasing effects, but the fact that it can be used with any team, basically, if you can build it correctly, very good damage if you put all the multipliers together. I think it's one of the better ships in the game for sure. Now, the Rev Army, I know that a lot of people were hyping this ship up, and I don't think it's really lived up to the hype. I know people wanted to do it initially because they wanted the damage right there and then to buff their super boss damage for whatever event was out at the time, but I don't think it's really that good. It gives you -1 cooldown, health boost, and if you have all the crew characters are strength, dex, and quick, you get a pretty good attack boost. And if you've got no psi or int, you get another further attack boost, damage reduction, and then more minus cooldown. So -2 cooldown, good strength, dex, quick ship, damage reduction, that's kind of it. So it's pretty mediocre in my eyes. I'd say it's probably like here, B tier-ish. It's definitely better than the Shank ship. A lot of ships are better than the Shank ship, let's be real, but it's just okay. Zunisha has not received a buff yet, but even without buffs, Zunisha is still one of the best ships in the game. I would say it's well up there. Cerebral and Powerhouse are great. Recovery tandem matching, easier perfects. Like, this ship is so good. And even, like, when this eventually gets a buff, it'll be fascinating to see what happens. Sexy Foxy did receive a buff. So this is a rainbow ship. Boost damage against delayed enemies, which is fascinating. And then you get a bit of bonus EXP and berries. Easier perfects, -1 cooldown. It's just a typical rainbow-ish ship. I guess I'll put it at the top of the bottom of B. Probably top of C actually is probably a more fair spot for it. Because I could actively see people using this, but there is a ship that is probably better than this ship for different purposes, so we'll talk about that soon. So next is the first Capone ship. This ship is really, really good, but it's hard to use. So I kind of want to put it in bottom tier because it's an interesting ship because you basically do end of turn damage like what the Dreadnaught Sabre does, but it reduces your crew's attack if you have like Powerhouse, Free Spirit, or Slasher characters, I think it is. So trying to build a team without Powerhouse, Free Spirit, or Slasher is actually more difficult than you would think. So I would love to use this ship more often, but it's just too hard to build for. The Queen Mama Chanter. So this one is interesting too. So this is boosting the chance of landing on a type slot, good health boost. If you have a driven or powerhouse captain, strength dex quick, get a big attack boost. If you land 3 perfects, you get a 1.8 attack boost. Allow strength dex quick characters to obtain recovery similar with perfects, very, very cool. A special that changes bottom row slots into recovery, very cool. -1 cooldown, and then recovery becomes similar. Pretty unique abilities here. I think it's relatively similar to what the Baratie is doing, so I think for those reasons it probably just goes in the same tier as that. You know, manipulating similar slots are just very, very good because as we said, these are slots that cannot be changed by the enemy, so abusing that is pretty strong. So I think actually rate this ship quite highly. Germa 66, this is a really nice one too. So this is boosting the chance of landing recovery tandem. If you have one of every color on the crew, reduces cooldown by 2. You get a 1.7 attack, 1.5 health, boost attack by a further 1.1 if you have recovery or tandem, make it easier to land perfects. If every type is on the crew, you get a 1.8 attack boost instead of the initial 1.7, -1 cooldown. So this becomes -3 cooldown, 1.8 attack, further 1.1 with recovery and tandem. So this is just wild to think about. So this becomes a 1.98 attack ship. So this is bonkers, getting -3 cooldown, almost a 2 times attack boost, good health boost, easier perfects, higher chance recovery tandem. And the real drawback is you need one of every color, but who's one of the best legends in the game that came out recently? Gear 5 Luffy, who loves to have one of every color on the crew. So if you can abuse this ship with Gear 5 Luffy, it is one of the best ships in the game. I would say it's actually quite up there. I don't know if I would want to put it into S tier because I don't see myself using this ship all that much, but if you can abuse a team correctly with this ship, it is unparalleled. Speaking of unparalleled, the Ho ship is probably my favorite ship in the game right now. I would say, objectively, it is not the best ship in the game, but it is well up there. And the main reason for it is because it has this cooldown here, so it's -2 cooldown, good attack boost, easy to land perfects, EXP boost, 1.75, but it becomes 2 times EXP. And then you also get 2000 heal at the end of the turn. You also have a special that can give you a 2 times orb boost for multiple turns, and you get additional healing for additional 2 turns. So cooldown, healing, EXP, orb boosting special. There's just nothing to really complain about. It's not a utility focused ship, which I think kind of drags it down a little bit, but being a cooldown ship with good attack, with massive EXP bonuses, it's probably the best generic ship in the game. But in my opinion, I think it's more of a better idea to use your investment of Super Cola into like these ships here. These ships that are used generically that help you across the board, in my opinion. But the Ho ship is still very, very good. My most used ship in the game. We've got the Megalo coming up here. Megalo also got a pretty decent buff. So it has a health boost, Psi Int. You need a Psi Int captain, of course. And if you do that, then your top row gets a 1.6 bonus, and then everyone else gets 1.8. So your captains have less attack. And then you get a recovery bonus to your captains, 15% damage reduction, locking your crew slots, which is here, but then also reducing slot bind by 1. And then the special of the ship, or the mods, give you -1 cooldown, and then the top row will get a 1.7 bonus instead, and then reduces the duration of healing effect converted to damage by 1 effect. So this is a kind of a weird ability, but this is just an ability, I think, yeah, so anytime you're inflicted with that debuff that changes healing into damage instead, you just remove 1 turn of it. It's not a big change, but it's okay. Like, this is a ship that sees some moderate usage. I'd say it's probably around like mid-level. It's just okay. The piece of Spadille. So this is an interesting one. So this boosts Powerhouse, Shooter, Free Spirit, Fighter. I believe previously Shooter was not included in this. It was just Powerhouse, Free Spirit, Fighter. So again, another ship that just adds Shooter to the list. You also get cooldown, HP attack boost, and then a bigger attack boost when you're at low HP. You further get -1 cooldown, so it becomes -2 cooldown, and a despair ship as well. So it's, again, just another good generic ship. I think it's pretty solid. The Koi ship has not received a buff yet. It is a quick and int focused ship. It does make recovery matching. It has an okay special. I would probably put it like relatively low tier. It's not a good ship, honestly. It's just not a ship you're going to use that often, but it could get a buff in the future, which would make it better. Grudge Dolph, the Hawken ship. This one was also one that some people were contemplating leveling up. So this one, cooldown, Slasher, Striker, Cerebral ship, HP boost, 1.75 if they have Rainbow, Wano, or a type slot, 1.6 otherwise, and then 2000 heal. You also get a boosted chance of landing on a type slot, which on own type slot, so it's a matching slot. And if you do that, then you get the 1.75 bonus, but then removing 1 turn of special bind. So this is a pretty good ship, honestly. I would say it's like, it doesn't really see a lot of usage. It's a moderately used ship, but the utility focused effects of the ship I think are actually really good. Like removing special bind on a ship, I hope we see more ships do this, because that's really, really good. The other modification effect is kind of mediocre though, in my opinion. So we've got the Shark Superb. I think Shark Superb is one of the best ships in the game. I would say it is probably an S tier ship, because if you are playing Kizuna Clash, you want to have the Shark Superb, because it just makes your teams just do more damage, just generically. It's just good. It's just a good ship. It's not very good in like clashes or arenas, unless if you can specifically clear each stage in 1 turn with no stalling. If you are able to build teams that don't require any stalling, or it's short form content, it's the best ship. It's just the best ship to run. Doesn't have a buff yet, but could get even better, which is crazy to think about. So Kid Ship, I don't think has actually received a buff yet. It doesn't look like they have. So Kid Ship is actually not bad. I would say it's like bottom of B tier. Probably better, yeah, around here I think I'd put it. So the good thing about this ship, it has a really good special. Remove 1 turn of barrier, and it's a ship focused on using a strength or a dex captain. It's just a good ship. It's just solid, and it's nice if you can abuse Wano slots, because it gives you more damage if you have Wano slots. I believe it makes tandem slots appear more often too, which a lot of units can manipulate those into Wano, which is cool. So yeah, it's just a good ship. Liberal Hind also got a buff recently too. Also, you know, one of the ships that people have been using for Grand Voyage, and it gives cooldown, side characters a further -1 cooldown, which is really cool. Captain gets a recovery bonus, HP boost, 1000 heal at the end of the turn, Free Spirit, Slasher, or Cerebral Captain you do need in order to make this ship work. But if you do that, then you get a 1.6 attack, and if you have a full team of side units, you get a further 1.2. So 1.6... 1.2, so it's a 1.92 attack. Like that's pretty strong. And then a special that gives -1 cooldown to Sai, and then the effects of additional HP. 1.4 additional HP is crazy, and then reduce 1 turn of bind. And Sai are one of the best colors in the game in normal content. I think this is a really good ship. I think I would put it in B tier for now. Actually, it probably needs to be bumped up a little bit. I think it's probably an A tier ship, because Mono Sai can deal with a lot of stuff. Like, Sai have some of the best legends in the game, and you do need, what was it, Cerebral, Free Spirit, or Slasher, and there's lots of good units that are that. I think it deserves to be an A tier, no doubt, but where in A tier, that is the question. I think it's probably just under Mama Chanter, or just around Mama Chanter. I think it's good. I think it's really good, actually, because after using this ship, I can see myself using this ship quite a lot. You know, I normally use the host ship for the EXP farming and stuff like that, but Liberal Hind, the fact that it now removes bind as well, and if you run that mono Sai, getting close to a 2x attack boost is crazy. And you've got a lot of HP in it now, and the auto healing that you get. Yeah, Liberal Hind is actually super good. So we've got the Capone ship. This is the newer Capone ship. This one is not bad. Strength, Sai, and int focused ship. Not that bad. I think I'd probably put it in B tier. I would probably put it around here. That seems pretty fair. It gives you like really good damage if you're at full HP, or if you're below 30%. And it does give cooldown, and this one doesn't have a buff yet, but again, could be very good in the future. The Oro Jackson, I think, is one of the best ships in the game. I'd say it's definitely up here. The good thing about Oro Jackson is that this also doesn't have a buff yet. Paralysis reducing special, recovery tandem matching, it has auto healing, it has cooldown reduction, but it only boosts Slasher and Free Spirit. So we'll have to wait and see if it gets a buff in the future and what they could do with it. Because man, this ship with mods I think is going to be pretty scary. So we'll have to wait and see. Like if they make the special remove even more turns of paralysis or remove another debuff, dude, this could be a really crazy one to get. But overall, I'm a big fan of this one. Very, very good ship, the Oro Jackson. We've got the Whale Shark. I think it's also like one of the best ships. It's a good generic ship. Boosts all characters' attack, cooldown reduction, tandem slots are matching. There's nothing really to complain about with this ship. It's just like the Ho, but like slightly different. It's an EXP boosting ship as well. If you don't have the Ho completely maxed out at level 12, the Whale Shark is better than Ho, in my opinion. But with the level 12 modifications, Ho is just the better version of Whale Shark again. Because like you had like Ho release really good, then you had Whale Shark come out, which was better. But then with mods, Ho was better. So then with mods with Whale Shark, it might actually be better than Ho. We'll have to wait and see. And then we get to the movie ships, which are the new ones. And remember, these ones all have level 12 with mods on release. Now, I have made a separate video talking about them extensively, but I want to go through them again just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So we got cooldown, Dex Int Quick, slightly boost chance of landing recovery slots, and if HP is full or below 30%, you get a 1.85 bonus to your attack instead of the 1.65. Despair reduction, also further -1 cooldown, so it's -2 cooldown, despair reduction. This is a good ship, but it is only for Dex, Int, and Quick, so you have to take that into consideration. But despair reduction, cooldown, more recovery slots, it seems good to me. I would say this is an A tier ship. I would say it's probably around like the piece of Spadille. Yeah, around this level. I think that's a pretty fair spot for the Shiki ship. I actually haven't even bought the ship yet. Probably should do that at some point, but it seems pretty good to me. I don't have too many complaints about that. The next one is Zephyr's ship. So Zephyr's ship is only focused on shooters, but it gives -1 cooldown, shooters a 1.9 attack boost, like at base level all the time, 1.25 health, Psi Int are matching, easier perfects. It doesn't do a whole lot, and it is only for shooters, but the attack multiplier is very high. You also get -1 cooldown to shooters, so it becomes -2 total, and then 1 turn of paralysis reduction. The fact that it's for mono shooters really hurts the ship overall, but the fact that the multipliers are so high with cooldown reduction, that really gives it a bit more credence. So I do want to put it in probably B tier here, because it is only for mono shooters, and I don't see it being used all that much. So I would probably put it around this tier here, around Moby Dick, probably a little bit lower than Moby Dick because the Moby Dick is for all characters compared to the Zephyr ship. I think that's a pretty fair placement. So we've got Bullet's ship next, the Catapult. So this ship gives -1 cooldown, strength, quick, and int focused, good attack and HP boost. Captain gets a further bonus. Psi and Dex slots are matching and easier perfects with an additional -1 cooldown becoming -2, and then fighters get an additional attack bonus. So I don't think the ship is that bad, but I just don't think it's that great either. Like I can't think of too many situations where that ship is going to be used over some of the other generic ships. So I do think it's good, but I just don't think it's gonna see that much play. There's no utility in the ship, which I think really hurts it. The fact that it's level 12 mod here is a fighter base attack boost and it's only 200, that is a big missed opportunity there. Like if it was a utility effect, I would give this ship a much higher grade. I think I'm just gonna leave it at the bottom of B tier. I mean, I think it's probably better than the Shank ship, but it doesn't really go much higher than that in my opinion. Like I just don't see it being used all that much. And then the final ship is the Grand Tesoro, and I think this ship is very interesting. So cooldown, you got a good attack boost, good health boost, 2 times attack if you have G or a rainbow slot. Now that's crazy. And then boost amount of berries earned by 3 times. So you have this ship and you've got Legend Tesoro with his level limit break and limit break expanded captain ability, who's also a 3 times berry ship. So you can get like 3 times 3 times 3, so 27x to your berries earned at the end of the quest. Like that's wild. And then if you have fighter, slasher, striker, shooter, if you have one of all classes on the crew, and you launch a special to set the chain multiplier, you extend it by 1 turn. So that includes chain lock and it includes chain boundary, extending the duration by 1 turn. And then the special modifications, bind and attack down removal. Wow, that's good. That is good. At level 12, this is an S rank ship, in my opinion. I mean, it's basically like this ship. This also removes bind and attack down. This is for all characters, but this also has the ability to have a special that gives you an attack boost and does AoE damage. So that's kind of the big difference there. And like, to be honest, this is like just as good. Like, this is a very good ship. So if you can get it to level 12, yes, it's very good. The level 10 effect is probably not that great. Basic attack boost, and then you still get 2 times berry zone, which is cool, which is still gonna earn you a lot of berries at the end of the day, and it still has the same effect here. But then the additional modifications of bind and attack down removal, like, that is big. So I think for that reason, I would probably leave it near the top. But I feel pretty comfortable with this list. So these ones down the bottom have not received a buff yet. So these are the ones that need one, and then there's obviously a couple that are sprinkled around here that also don't have one. But you can definitely see overall which of these have received mods and which ones are actually worthwhile investing in. The ones at the top are the ones you should be looking at for sure. Specifically like the Merry and the Sunny, ships that can be used on any team, and they give you great benefits with their modifications. Host ship allows you to speed farm, Dinghy allows you to speed farm, and then you've got these other really good ships too, Free Spirit and Slasher, Oro Jackson. You've got the Grand Tesoro for berry farming, but also being a good rainbow ship with great modifications. Zunisha for cerebral and powerhouse, for low, like, short form content and strength decks quick captains. This ship is amazing, probably the best ship in short form content. And then you got the Whale Shark, which is another great generic ship, and then you've got different ones depending on what kind of team you want moving down. But I'm pretty happy with this list actually, so hopefully you enjoyed this video today, guys. And if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.